And thanks for staying with us. First up, investment and fund management firm Databank has announced the closure of its offices effective today and to work remotely following attacks and threats on its staff. A statement issued Wednesday by the company said it has not been spared the liquidity challenges that have beset the fund management industry owing to the macroeconomic crisis facing the country. The situation has negatively impacted its ability to honor withdrawal requests as expected. However, while some clients have cooperated with the company, there are several clients who have felt the need to abuse staff physically and verbally and also threaten their lives as well as their families. That's according to Databank Group. Joining us is CEO of Databank Group, Kojo Adai-Mensah. Grateful for your time this afternoon. Should be quite tough on you. Mind sharing with us the nature of these abuse, physical and verbal, you say your staff are facing, for which reason you're deciding to close your offices?
Yeah, hi, Daryl. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and for speaking, the opportunity to speak to our clients, to the general public through your most fearless and authoritative network. Yes, you will recall that way back from the mark-to-market directive that the Securities and Exchange Commission issued. And the Securities and Exchange Commission are our regulators. They look after us, they guide us, they give us all the rules and regulations we should abide with. It came to light that the true value of client investments, or the true value of the bonds we're holding, government bonds we were holding. And I want to emphasize that these are government bonds and these are not just maybe corporate bonds or some derivatives that we just went and fancifully did, maybe in Egypt or Kenya or South Africa. These are government of Ghana bonds that from the time we were in school were said to be risk-free, risk-free, risk-free. The value started dropping quite dramatically. And so the Securities and Exchange Commission then instructed that we should value our securities that we hold at the market value. And that started not going too well with the clients. But we explained, we had webinars, seminars, meetings, and just when clients were beginning to accept that, oh, okay, now this is just like the stock exchange where you buy securities or you buy a stock in a certain company, and today the price is 10 cedis, tomorrow the price goes up to 20, and the next day it drops to 15. That is also happening to bonds. Then the debt exchange program was announced, and then the fact that the announcement then meant we couldn't do any trading with the bonds we were holding. And because we then needed to go and exchange the bonds we were holding with the new bonds that the government was then going to issue. And if you recall, the original date for that was 19th of December with a settlement date, I think, of 23rd or so. And then, not too long, we got to know that that had been extended again. So the deadline, the new deadline for the exchange or the presentation of the bonds we held was pushed to 30th December, then with a settlement date of 6th of January, which meant that until 6th of January, really, even if you held bonds and people were willing to buy or do whatever it is they wanted to do with, you couldn't do anything about that. This really infuriated clients. I mean, I must admit that majority of the clients understand. Majority of the clients empathize. They know what is going on. They agree with all what is happening. But there are few that are on, and I can't begrudge them, I can't blame them, who are very upset because here is Christmas. Christmas is nigh. Christmas is just in a few days. In January, school fees is coming up. You know, salaries have to be paid, and so much is going on. And I can't blame them for being that upset. But if it will even just take one client out of our 300, 400,000 to take a knife and stab a client and stab a staff, or even a fellow client, I didn't think it was prudent to keep the offices open and open people up to the kind of risk that we were being faced with. I mean, I've been threatened personally I've been in media for a while. I'm a sports person. I even had to stop doing my World Cup punditry because of this. But, people are threatening that they know you, they'll track you. I can't subject clients and staff to this kind of threat. It's a pity. But one client out of 400,000 can even cause a lot of damage. And I didn't think it was right to keep the doors open.
It's a pity. How serious are these liquidity challenges that you point to? I know the tough economic times are taking a hit, and I guess it's not peculiar to Databank alone, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's not peculiar to Databank at all. It's just that we are the biggest, we are the largest, we have the biggest customer base. So, and we can't run away from it. Our founder is also the Minister of Finance. So, a lot of people will take advantage of that. It's not peculiar to Databank at all. It's cut across the industry. It's general, and we have been working with the minister on this. We've been engaging with him, the regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and at some point even the Bank of Ghana. So it's not a peculiar thing to Databank. It's just that maybe, should I say, we are a soft spot. Because our founder is...
Yes, because I was going to ask if this had got anything to do with the fact that the founder is currently the Minister of Finance, and for which reason you're getting this kind of hit from your
I can't
clients.
tell. We can only conjecture. But we can't say for a fact. We don't have any evidence, empirical evidence to that effect. But yes, when clients come into our banking halls, some of them attribute it to the fact that, hey, our founder is also on top of managing the government press. So that you can't take away. It exposes us a bit more. But I can assure clients, and I can tell clients that, look, we did not do anything untoward. We've not broken the law. We've not done anything against the law. We've done the most prudent and the most risk-free in our minds type of investment. We've put their monies into Government of Ghana securities. We were promised that we will be getting some liquidity support. I'm sure you saw in the debt exchange program release that there was a financial stability fund as well that had been created. So we were expecting to tap into that financial stability fund. We're still waiting. It hasn't come into fruition. But as soon as all that comes into fruition, I believe strongly that we'll then be able to meet clients. But I would like to encourage clients to exercise restraint. I know it's easier said than done. I mean, saying be patient, be careful, don't panic. Yeah, it's very easy to say. I really empathize with that. Trust me, I really do.
I appreciate that you are giving these assurances to the clients.
Yeah.
It's very needful. I'm just wondering, though, what the engagement has been with them prior to this.
Okay, so I had a Zoom meeting where I had over. The subscription was maxed out, but there's a limit to which you can go on Zoom, and the kind of client base we have, some of them don't even have smartphones to be able to engage on Zoom. So thank you very much again, Multimedia. Thank you very much, Joy FM, for giving me this platform, because then when I'm able to speak, it reaches out there, it goes to a wider audience, it goes those who have no ability to be able to come onto social media to listen to what it is we are saying. But we have engaged. We have another one coming up, I think next week, Wednesday or 28th December. We will still come out there and explain. We are not running away. We are not shying away. We just needed to close down physically to protect the lives of our clients and also of staff. I mean, Daryl, imagine you or your relative was working at Databank and came to you in the evening to say, look, hey, Daryl, today some guy came and said that tomorrow he's coming with a knife. He's come to shoot me and he doesn't care what happens. Can you imagine how you're going to feel? So we thought we needed to protect, but we're not running away at all. We are open. All our digital channels are open. And on Wednesday, I intend to engage the general public again. It's just that it's limited and not everybody has a smartphone. So I thank you very, very much, because Once this interview is done, it's going to go on all the social media platforms. It's going to be recorded, and it can go as far and wide as possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the debt exchange program, and for
yes.
the many clients that you are assuring this afternoon, they are looking forward to some normalcy in the secondary market. How positive are you about the ability of not just Databank but the whole industry to survive this?
Yeah, I'm quite positive because it's a government obligation, right? Let's build on the risk-free aspect. I know things have happened in the past. I mean, since 2017, Ghana's financial markets have been seeing quite a bit of uproar, volatility, where people's monies got locked up. So where's your money locked up? I mean, to put it in simple terms, your money is locked up in government, and it's not locked up in some fancy things. So I can assure people that as long as the investment has been done in government of Ghana bills, the top 5, top 10 fund management companies, we've been meeting with the regulators regularly, and we've been telling them our situation. We've been explaining to them what it is happening. They've been understanding what it is going on. And so I can assure our clients, I can assure the Ghanaian public that it's not like the monies have been put in some investment that is untoward, that is unlawful, that is weird. It's just government of Ghana. And once they perform, we will also perform. I wish it could be better. I wish it could be earlier. We're doing all that we can. We've pushed very hard, but it is what it is. And we'll keep pushing because they are dear to our hearts.
What's been the involvement of the regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, in all of this? I'm sure they are updated about the current happenings.
Yes, they are updated. I've even had a conversation with them this morning after our release went out, listening to us, understanding where we're going, understanding why we have to do this, because honestly speaking, just like I said, just one life. And Databank, we are probably the only investment company spread across the country. We are in Wa, all the way down to Takwa. I mean, so Wa is there, Tamale, Sunyani, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Accra, of course, Accra, Takrade, Kumasi. We are across the country. So we touch every life. We touch every life in Ghana. And the Securities and Exchange Commission, our regulator, understands that. They've been with us. They've understood us. They know what it means with the actions that we are taking. But they agree as well that the lives of our people are important. And
okay, I think that Mr. Dimensa is frozen there. Are you still with us? All right, he's frozen. I just wanted to ask him two more questions. I don't know if we are able to get him back on. Yeah, I think you're back on, and just 2 minutes, because that's all we have right now.
No problem. I think you've given me more than enough time.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the mark-to-market valuation could have been approached differently. Could the messaging have been more apt enough so that we don't get this kind of rebuttal from your clients? Also, wanted to find out about how this working remotely, how that would impact on your operations. I read your statement. You said you don't expect it to impact your operations so much. But I believe that when it comes to staff morale, I mean, if they're being threatened and abused, as you have pointed out, it's going to be pretty tough for them, isn't it?
Yeah, let me start from the work from home. You recall that in April 2020, when the government shut down the country and there was a lockdown. In fact, it was March. We were very ready. It was as if we knew what was coming, but we were ready. So our operations will not be affected. What may be impacted is the lack of the face-to-face, the physical engagement. But here I am on Zoom with you. I mean, you are not in my office doing an interview. I'm not at the offices of Joy FM doing the interview. It's still working. So I don't think our operations will be that impacted. There are some people who really want that personal interaction, the personal face-to-face. But otherwise, everything else is working. All our digital channels are working. Everything is working, and we are not impacted at all. Your second question was?
If the messaging on the mark-to-market
the
valuation could
messaging
have
on the
been better.
mark-to-market. Yeah, well, I mean, on hindsight, you can always say things could have been done better, on hindsight. And when you have the benefit of hindsight, it's easier to criticize and all that. But the regulator brought it up. The regulator did engage. Some of us had issues. If you recall, Databank was the last or one of the last companies to implement the mark-to-market because we thought the timing was not right. But it was what it was, and that we had to follow the regulators' directive. They give us the license, they renew our licenses, and we had to, follow suit. So yes, it could have been better. There's no doubt about that. It could have been better. It could have been explained more, but we had to follow the directive.
We've got to go. Thank you so much, Kuja.
Thank you so much. This is more than enough. I salute and I thank you. Daniel, hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Group CEO of Databank Research. Now, government has finally secured Parliament's approval to spend more than 227 billion Ghana cedis for next year. This was after the House gave the Finance Minister his blessings to spend this amount in 2023. Parliament also approved the increase in the VAT rate by 2.5%. The approval, however, didn't come easy for government as the minority put up a fight. Chairman of the Finance Committee, Kweku Kwatin, touted the tax measure as key in turning around the fortunes of the economy.
The Speaker, the object of the bill is to amend the Value Added Tax Act 2013, Act 870, to increase the value added tax rate, adjust the value added tax threshold, review the transitional provisions for the implementation of the electronic value added tax system, revise the administrative penalties for non-compliance in relation to the electronic value added tax, and remove the value added tax on betting, gambling, and other games of chance. Mr. Speaker, your committee, having reviewed the bill, comes to the following conclusions. That, Mr. Speaker, before I conclude, I think it is important to state that the entire members of the minority present at the meeting voted against the very principles of this bill. The reasons for which they did that, Mr. Speaker, have been captured under paragraph 6.3 of the committee's report. So the recommendation by the committee was a majority decision by the majority members recommending to this House to adopt this report and pass the Value Added Tax Amendment Number 2 Bill 2022 into law.
Well, so the minority described the revenue measure as one which will worsen the plight of Ghanaians and not needed during this period of economic hardship. Meantime, MPs have approved an amendment to the controversial e-levy, which sees the tax rate reduced to 1%. Earlier, Finance Minister Kenneth Wiata announced in the 2023 budget that government would remove the daily threshold of 100 cedis. Minority spokesperson of Finance, Dr. Cassiel Atoforsen, said the minority are reluctantly supporting the amendment because government had backtracked on efforts to remove the daily threshold, but said they wanted that to be increased. Let's go on to Zoom, speak with Dr. Daniel Amate-Anim, who is Executive Director of the Policy Initiative for Economic Development. Thanks for your time. A very important condition for an IMF agreement is how well we are able to cut down on expenditure and raise revenue. Parliament has given government approval to spend some 227 billion cedis next year, but question remains, will the government be disciplined enough? Your thoughts?
Thank you very much, Daryl. Yes, now that we have the IMF one eye on the economy, I'm of the view that in terms of fiscal discipline, government will adhere to that because there are implications if government should fail to strictly adhere to IMF conditionalities. So in that particular respect, I'm of the view that indeed in terms of expenditure controls, government will indeed have that discipline to be able to work within budget. In terms of the revenue mobilization directives, just like you rightly stated, an increase in the VAT rate by 2.5, thankfully has been approved by the House, and then also the review.
Oops, appears that we have... Okay. Carry on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go on. Go on with the point you're making, Doc.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that with the successful approval by the House in respect of the 2.5 increase in the VAT rate and also the review of the e-levy, what it means is that government now has the room to mobilize more revenue to be able to meet recurrent expenditure as well as any other capital expenditure that the money can get for. So it's quite a good news. But to me, one thing that is still critical, aside the fact that we government to adhere to fiscal discipline, it has to do with the financial malfeasance in the system, the loopholes in the system. Government should be able to devise strategies to ensure that we minimize the loopholes, so that we need to have value for money kind of projects. The degree or the level of corruption ought to be addressed. So if these things are addressed, and with the injection of new revenue that is coming on board, with the management of our expenditure, then of course we should be able to work within plan, and with the kind of policy outline, the 7 pillars that the government has outlined in the 2023 budget, we should be able to bring about macroeconomic stability by close of the fiscal year 2023.
All right, this is a government that loves to spend and loves to borrow. And so I'm just wondering what measures can be put in place to check them.
Yes, and the good news is that now we cannot borrow from the capital market because of the dynamics. High debt stock, we are doing debt restructuring, which is going to affect the investor community. So nobody for now, I mean for the next 2-3 years, will be willing to give us any money. That's the fact. I think the only thing that a government may resort to will be financing by the BOG. And I'm sure we've not seen the full conditions from the IMF. I'm very sure that as part of the conditionalities, IMF will ask BOG to respect or to finance government borrowing, not about the 5% requirement that we have by law. So that's the only window for the government in terms of borrowing. And I think if that is curtailed, they have no option. We are at the point that government has no option than to operate within the fiscal space that they have. Of course, even domestically, nobody will be willing to give government more money because of the debt restructuring. We just heard what Kojo have just outlined in terms of the domestic bonds. Customers are rushing, and then the trust level is diminishing on a daily basis.
All right.
Crossroad where
I was just going to...
difficult actually to borrow from, right?
My last question to do with the revenue measures. So we've got the 2.5% VAT increase in place. We also have the revised e-levy. There are some people who are not really too confident about these revenue measures and whether or not they would make any difference. What do you think?
Yes. In terms of the how do you call it, revenue measures, the 2.5 coming on board and the review of the e-levy. Yes, of course, we should be able to mobilize our revenue, but largely compliance is also very key. And what I've read over the period is that GRA is intensifying revenue mobilization. So they need to speed up education, let people appreciate the essence of paying taxes. So once you have people complying, okay, largely they are able to mobilize more. So to me, if you are able to do that through GRA, we should be able to beef up our revenue mobilization efforts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Martin, Executive Director of the Policy Initiative for Economic Development. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it is leaving no stone unturned in ensuring nightclubs, pubs, cinemas, and restaurants don't evade the payment of taxes during this season. According to the enforcement team of the GRA, it will be going hard on operators of these facilities if they fail to comply with revenue laws. This came to light after the enforcement team embarked on a night operation to invite recalcitrant operators who have failed to either register their business or issued fake invoice. And our team was there with the GRA team as well. We'll bring you the full report. All right, I think we can hear bits of the interview. Let's listen.
The first place we visited is Sizzle Events Bar and Grill. Yes, that is at Ringway Estate. Then from there we moved to Mango's Restaurant. That is at East Legon. And currently we are at the Spinters Road at Hangout. Yes. And all these taxpayers are registered, but they are either not issuing the VAT at all, or they are doing selective issuance of the invoice. And like we have always said, it's an infraction on the law. And Section 58 of the VAT Act makes it an offense for not issuance of the VAT invoice, non-issuance of the VAT. So currently it's late. So as we have always been doing, this time around we are inviting them to the office tomorrow morning for the CRD to take their statement. But we have picked their records, which will be examined and the preemptive assessment will be established.
Joseph Annan, Head of Enforcement at the GRA, speaking there. Full report on Business Live. Don't miss it. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for watching The Marketplace. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Goodbye.